Hey everyone, this is Bob Dorn. Today I'm going to show you how to swap out a speed sensor. This right here is it's an original Honda part, and how do you know it's that and nothing else? Come on over here, camera lady. So I'm going to walk over here, and if your speedometer doesn't work, or if you get the check engine light that comes on solid for like a long solid, you get one long solid, one short solid. If you look that code up, it's for the speed sensor. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to show you the tools that we're going to need. And it's going to be a screwdriver, a rag, a pair of snips, a 3/8 drive. I'm just using a 3/8 because that's what I grabbed out of my toolbox, with an extension, 10mm socket, and a 5mm Allen wrench. 2 zip ties, and I don't know if I said it or not, but the extension, this piece of wood here, this is just to kind of pry some of the plastic away from the bike. So I'm going to show you right here. This is where a speed sensor is located. So it's located right here. So we're going to have to remove this heat shield, this cover, some of the plastic fairing up top here. And just while I'm filming, I just want to let you know that there is a 10mm screw right behind this front fairing that has to come off to get the shield off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop off this side plate right here. So go ahead and remove this. Put it off to the side. Next, screwdriver. And I grabbed a rag just so I wouldn't mess up any of my plastic. So we're going to take this piece off right here, this trim piece. I just put this back here. Yep. Pop it up. And all it is it's just clipped in. Just be real careful with it. Take it off just like that. Push it off this side. Next, we're going to go ahead and use this 5mm Allen wrench to take off these 2 screws right here. Oh, actually that one stays. This one here comes off. Just like that. I also have a magnetized base. This is just to kind of hold my hardware. I might take it off. All right, when those 2 things are off, next we're going to pop off this plastic piece right here. Same way with the screwdriver. So you got to be careful with this. Actually, I think I could just pop it off. Just like this. There you go. I didn't need the screwdriver. So I popped it away, and this is why I grabbed this piece of wood. So instead of taking this whole fairing piece off, if you take these 2 screws off, here and here, and just kind of pop it out, put it like something to pull back on it right here. This is where the clip is. Zoom in on that if you could. This is where it clips into the wire harness right here. So to get that off, it's actually a push down. Screwdriver will make it a little bit easier if you just kind of push down on it. You getting that, camera lady?
Your hand's on the way.
Oh, sorry. So I'll just take my screwdriver, push down on it. Push down and pull. There you go. So I got it off. This is what the end looks like. So I'll just take this piece of wood away, kind of let that relax. So if you look at it, it's going to be the gray cable that kind of comes down here, goes behind the little brake fluid. It's strapped, or there's a little zip tie holding it to the black wires. Excuse me.
Bless you.
All right, so now that that's off and I've unplugged it, I'll come down here and pull the seat shield off.
Bless you.
Me. Thanks. So what we're going to need for that is right here. You can put an extension on it or not.
Bless you.
Bless me. And right down here, there's two acorns that have to come off. And they are right here. And if you have a foot peg, you're just gonna have to get it out of the way. Two acorns right here and here. So I'll take those off. Again, these are 10 millimeters. So I'll kind of break them loose. Take the ratchet part off, back them out. Here's one of them. Here's the other one. Camera lady, could you grab that magnetized pan for me? Thank you. All right. So there are the two acorns. Next, we're going to take off this 5 millimeter screw and this one in the front. This one right up in here. So I'll take this one off first. And the reason why we have to do this, because there's a little hidden 10 millimeter bolt right behind this fairing. And the second one is right over here. Let me move this. The second one is right here. Now, of course, you could take this whole front fairing piece off if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to take these two screws off so I can get it done as quick as I can. Okay, so there's the second one, right there. In case you're wondering what this is my little deer whistle for when I'm up in the woods along those back roads. This will send a signal out to keep the deer off the road. I have two of them, one here, one on the other side. It was like $7 over at Walmart. Okay, now that I've removed both of them, the fairing will pull away like this. So you're going to need a 10 millimeter without the extension. So what I'm going to do first is put it on the bolt itself. So I'm going to take my little stick, little pry bar, put it back here just to pull the fairing away so I'm not hacking my hand up. So the 10 millimeter bolt is right back here. Right here and right behind the flange. So I'll just put that on there like that. Make sure I'm in the reverse. And I am. Pop it on there. There we go. Pop the handle off. And I will back that 10 millimeter bolt out. Of course, there's nothing saying you can't take all this off to get to the front, but I'm just trying to not take so much stuff off. So just back that 10 millimeter bolt out, drop your socket, and this is the bolt right here. Again, you got to kind of feel around. Once you take it off, the side cover plate will come right off, just like this right here. So I'll take that, put it off to the side. All right, so that exposes the speed sensor, which is right here. Camera lady? Okay, so it's right here. This is your speed sensor. So there's two 10mm bolts that hold it in, this one and that one. So you're going to want to back those out. This is where the extension is needed. It might be a little hard to back them out and crack them the first time, but once it's loose with the extension, you can just back it out. There you go. Okay, so I backed them both out. All right, so when you look at the speed sensor, just make a mental note on how it sits in there. The cables come from the top and not the bottom, so you don't want to try to force it in a reverse position. So before you pop it out, you can unclip this right here, the zip tie, and pull it out. Yep. There's one of them, and this one up here. Camera lady. Okay, as you pull back on a zip tie that came with the bike, if you pull up on this little tab, it'll release it. So pull up on it, pull the zip tie through. Right, so this right here comes up through the bike. There you on it. Comes up behind the little reservoir for your brake. Pops out just like that. This one here comes out behind it. So right here we go, right here. You can pop out the speed sensor. There it is right here. And should be able to feed it around the back side. So because I am replacing this cable, to make it easier on myself, I'm just going to cut it because it looks like it's a little hard to get behind that little adapter. Camera lady, can you grab my little snips up there, please? Thank you. So here's the speed sensor just kind of removed from the bike, but it's behind that little, looks like something to do with the coolant, like that little nozzle. So this is it. So what I will do, I'm just going to cut it. Make it easier on myself, just anywhere on it. This is the old one. There you go. Cut it, pull it out, and here's the old one. Nothing looks wrong with it, but then again, I guess they wear out because mine did. All right, so we're just gonna push that off to the side. Gonna come over here, and here's the part number to the speed sensor. You can zoom in on it. Of course, you're gonna want to buy a Honda one, not a knockoff brand if you're gonna go through all this to get it installed. Break this off, toss it aside. So again, remember the cables come from the top. So what I will do is I'll get this behind here and I'll make sure it's in the right position. Use my two little 10mm bolts. Put it back in. one of them. And here's the other one. Okay, put it good and tight, not too much force, and good and tight. Okay, good. So next you're going to want to make sure that this cable is tightly up against the little valve right there. Okay, so here it is. Try to push it away from this exhaust pipe as far away as you can if you're not going to feed it along the backside. So I'll just pull this tight. Okay, so that's nice and tight. Okay, so I have to feed it up top. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip it into the wire harness before I zip it down. I'll take this piece of wood out of here. Pop this back up right under here so I can kind of have a little tension on the fairing. Okay, so when you install it, just make sure that this clip here is towards you. It'll make it a little bit easier. And the wiring harness is going to have the clip right here. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of first off pushing it up in there. And let's make sure when you get it in there, you got to push it up. This can be challenging, but if you got the right light, it should be easy. And small hands. There you go. So when you install it, you should hear a click. So zoom in there if you could. So as you can see underneath this little cover, it's clipped all the way in. This little tab right here is going to click in, and now it's nice and tight. So come back to over here. I'm going to zip it to, put it up through the engine right here, the way it was. Come over here, and I'll put it in with this wire bundle, zip it through. Of course, you could have fed it up through here. Actually, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to release it one more time. Just going to take it off. So I'll pop it off again. The only reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to physically put it behind the reservoir for my brake. There you go, so I unplugged it. So if you don't want to do what I just did, just make sure before you zip it down that you feed it through behind the reservoir. Right over here. There we go. This way here, it keeps it tight fit to the motorcycle. Coming up right here. I put it behind the bolt. So I'll come back in and plug it back into the wire harness. Again, I only use this to pry the fairing away from the bike. Take a little pressure off my hands. And can you zoom in there?
Mm-hmm.
Just one more time with the wire harness. Just make sure. Line everything up. And push it in. You hear the clip. It can be a little challenging. Here we go. There we go. Got it. Push it all the way in and you'll feel a click, which I did. Pull on it a little bit, make sure it's seated. So that's what it looks like when it's put together. Let's make sure you take the boot, kind of slide it over the connection, pull this little piece of wood out, and what I'll do is make sure that this cable is zip tied against the other ones. There we go. All right. So there it is. There's your speed sensor installation. Didn't take really much. Of course, every once in a while you'll get a casualty of war. Okay, so now that it's installed, got a torque, run up, zipped up against it. Because this is my first time doing this, I thought I was going to need 2 zip ties to kind of keep it in there, but I guess I didn't. I just used the Honda's clamps. So to get done with the job, just reverse the order with what we did earlier. So I'll just leave it at that. You can go ahead and put all the pieces back together. And I hope this video actually helps you kind of do the speed sensor. I did this video because I didn't see one anywhere. Of course, nobody knew or posted anything on it. So again, this is a 2013 Honda F6B. And how do you know if it's a speed sensor or something else? This little check engine light, just for a review, this little check engine light will come on right here. After you get done riding it, you come over, put the kickstand down. That check engine light will stay on for one long flash. It'll go out and then come back on for a short flash, and it'll keep repeating it. So if you look that code up, it stands for 11, and that 11 is the speed sensor. Not only that, but your speedometer won't work. It'll stop working. All the gauges will work, but your speedometer won't. All right, so I hope this video helps somebody. So give me the camera real quick. So this right here is my camera lady.
Hello.
Hello, my little daughter Sarah. So in closing, thanks, and I hope this helps. See ya.